Ready when you are.
Sounds good. I'd like to call to order a special meeting of the Warren City Council dated August 25th, 2025. You all please rise and join me in pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Mrs. Leary, will you please call the roll?
Yes, Ms. Flasher.
Here.
Mr. Barbera.
Here.
Mr. Cashman.
Present.
Mr. Gilbert is absent. Mrs. McCain. Mr. Villela.
Present.
Mayor Wortman.
Here.
We have a quorum with 6 council members in attendance.
Thank you very much. See, Mr. Larson, Mr. Hannah in the audience, and our business will be following this special meeting unless you would like to make any kind of public comment currently about anything that's not on our agenda for tonight.
No, we're here just to talk about our project.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Item number 3, motion to approve tonight's agenda.
So moved.
Okay.
We have a motion second. All those in favor vote aye.
Aye.
All those opposed vote nay. That passes. Will there be any motion to amend the agenda and the statement of purpose, except amendment? Make a motion to not amend the agenda.
Second.
We have a motion a second. All those in favor vote aye.
Aye.
All those opposed vote nay. Okay, that also passes. Okay, so the reason for our special meeting tonight, 5A, bid award Clark Street parking garage rehabilitation project. Mr. Holtz, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. At 3 p.m. on last Wednesday, the city opened up bids for the Park Street parking garage rehabilitation project. 3 bids were received. The apparent low bidder was Holman's SFP Inc. from Imperial, Pennsylvania. Holman's base bids was $2,016,000. Alternative bids 1 and 2 address the glass panels and the stairwells that also need to be repaired. Their alternative bid totals an additional $72,321. And then Rolls is also online with us tonight. The project manager from AES. He has reviewed the bids and has recommended the contract be awarded to Coleman SSP. Copy of Evan's recommendation is also in place. Just for counters, we review funding for this project consisting of an EBCI grant, $1 million, an LSA or a local share grant, $350,000 in a portion of the loan that the city had taken out in March of 2022. After further review of the project, and the budget amounts available, determine that we include the alternate bids for the work for the stairwell glass panels. As you may have noticed, the contract was bid based on unit prices, which was done in the event that the work was starting to get done. We may need to do additional work. Most of that's about the concrete and council may want to consider including a 10% contingency, which would amount to $208,833 to address any additional work. The contract then would total $2,297,153. This would bring the amount of the loan fund to be utilized at $937,153. Council's action requested is council's consideration and motion to award the project to Coleman SST for $2,088,821 with additional 10% contingency of $208,133, again for a total of $2,297,153. Also enclosed is a bid tab. And recommendations and pictures of the current prices, and you'll notice on the bid tab, it's sort of a code, so we do need to code to put the bag. So Evan's also on the line, also need discussion.
Okay, you should lead into the item at hand, so at this point, you don't have any public comment relative to this, so you just turn it over to the floor. So, Mr. Barbera, you wanna go ahead and,
So. It's recommended that, I guess, add a contingency, so can you walk me through the high level? Sure. If you. Like, what would happen if you didn't add it, and then how does the contingency work?
Well, from a funding standpoint, if we did not, if we didn't use the contingency, we would just be managing the money.
So, but if
You
you,
didn't ask that question.
like, if you didn't vote for a contingency, and then all of a sudden. They find something, then we're gonna have to vote on every little piece,
Yeah, yeah, I don't think you would want to use that.
and then. I guess a contingency in my head, it's used for. Scope changes or like what enacts the, like, okay, I say, yeah, we'll do a 10% contingency, so. How do I know it's being used versus what was in the original budget, like, what's that mean?
You want to take that question, Evan, a little bit?
Sure. So in a unit price contract like this, and it's really a combination of unit prices and lump sum. We've identified certain scope items which have variable quantities associated with them. Those variable quantities have, sort of a plus or minus associated with them. We may find more of, let's say, square footage of concrete patching, for example, or less square footage. The way that we track that during the course of the project is that there's an established quantity in the contract, which is the base bid. For example, there may be, 11,000, I think it's 11,050 square feet of partial depth patching. If we would encounter 12,000 square feet or 12,500, whatever that might be, that would get assigned to the dollar value of the unit price in the contract, and the total value then would be taken from the contingency, that anything that would exceed the contract value at that point. I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, so then if you. So one more, and then I think I'm done. So let's say you find something that. I don't know, is outside of the contract, like.
It's not part of, let's say, it's not part of the.
Is-
The unit price.
Would that go against the contingency, or would that be like, oh, here's a separate thing? I don't have an example, but I don't know.
I guess I interpret it like, I guess your question is, let's say we find something that's not
Listed.
in this list of costs.
Yeah, so
Let's say it's
exactly.
something left, but not even in there.
Yeah,
Yeah, our experience has been that the contingency can also be used for those items as well.
I'm not sure.
so that's what you're saying is that if there was an expansion of the scope. In theory, the contingency could be used as opposed to just more of work that were already factored into the bid. More of a certain thing that we're already setting out to accomplish, correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
And I guess these are famous last words, but we have 24 unit prices and 3 lump sums. I'm trying to decide something that's not covered on the, would go bad in the garage, and we'd be probably painting the concrete.
Yeah. Yeah, the likelihood of that on this project is pretty low.
yeah, I don't know.
And I say that we're finding.
In the event, a scope change, like change order have to come through, what will be the cost of a change order for review and approval?
Probably wouldn't come through the change order, but it was within the contingency.
But if it's an expansion of scope that wasn't part of the bid, then I can unforeseen circumstances it have to be changed.
We normally don't do that at the city only because of the lag time for the year and month and like sign, like when we do street projects, we put the projects. If it goes above the budget, we certainly tell them for sure, within the budget. We wouldn't necessarily follow up the work till we got back to the January for them.
So it's like, go to his point about, like, I wanted to be going, and that doesn't come through. Invoicing and reporting from the project progress, like, we're not gonna see a change where it says here.
We would do it, I'm sorry, I should back up, we should do a change order, we do change orders all the time. We don't necessarily do a change orders to council.
You
unless
must
it's-
say,
unless it's
that we will be
over-
able to see
Oh, yeah.
that, but through
Yeah.
change order.
Every change order
process,
gets
we'll be able
reviewed
to
by the
see.
by the engineer, the owner,
Right.
we beat contact with them, brothers, we final time, but within the budget, never come back to the table. And I'm only speaking from a traditional sewer, right?
Yeah, in my professional, even construction projects, like, we don't do anything, so.
And most of that's for a time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Does anybody else have a question? Mrs. McCain?
Just come to tag up that, so. Like, not sure that I'm clear on the answer, so we're saying if there's a 10%. You're suggesting to include a 10% contingency. And what I thought I heard at first was that the contractor, if they see it within their need, that they could go ahead and use that money without bringing it back to us.
As long as it's in yeah,
Within the whatever, $200,000.
right. And that's.
So that's not a change order that would come back to us.
Right, but
Over
there would
the
be a change order to it, if they were to expand the scope to the mayor's plan, if they were to add in to the scope.
Yeah, contractors just couldn't do
Yeah.
that until they
Right.
justify it, write the change order, go to the architect, make sure. everything on.
So if the costs for the things that are in scope are 200,000 more than what they bid for, we're allowed. Okay, and then. So I'm a little surprised, I didn't, I'm sorry to explain this, and I'm not following it. Because we're here with a special meeting, couldn't wait till the next council meeting. But we sent the bids out on Wednesday, so that's 3 business days on a $2 million bid. It seems like not a very long time frame to get.
Well, we sent them out on Friday for information. You know.
The bidding window was 3 days.
No, how long was it?
Oh, the bidding window is 6 weeks.
Oh, okay, I thought you sent
Oh,
it
no,
out for bid at 3 o'clock. I'm like,
No, we
okay.
opened-
No, it's open.
no, they were open.
I mean, well, that's a good point, but can you explain just the time sensitive nature of having a meeting, having a special meeting? As opposed to waiting for September.
We're just, because it's already August, we're trying to get the work done, and also some of the grants are expiring, and we want to try to get through most of the work before the grants expire.
And then who were the other 2 bids?
CHD Enterprises and CPS Construction. They're on the next page.
And then, will the work include, people being able to punch on the roof when they want?
Yeah, as they're doing, myself and the chief have already had a lot of talks late last week about. Just making sure they still have those. There's like 280 rental spots right now. We're comfortable. There'll be some commentary from, but everybody will, nobody's gonna be throwing out a lot of garage. So,
Well, I mean, there's been a lot of discussion on the parking garage and the way it was built and the longevity of the fits that were,
Yeah.
So did you just re-explain how much time this gives us on the parking garage to
Yeah.
use it?
We had that conversation today with Evan, and we determined if this type of repair puts it into the what time frame from the report.
Oh, sorry, was that directed towards me, Mike?
Yeah. No,
Okay.
to carry on the conversation from this morning.
Yes, so when we did our original study of this garage, we had made some different recommendations for different longevities for sort of a short-term fix, intermediate term fix, as we were referring to it, and a long-term fix. The short-term fix, which was not pursued, had a very short, less than 5 year life expectancy for the repairs. The intermediate term was deemed in the category of like 5 to 10 years. And then the long term was 40 plus. But that long term solution was to basically rip all of the slabs out, replace them in their entirety. And that was deemed basically not cost effective for the city. It carried a very large budget. So we gravitated towards the intermediate phase with at least some of the long-term solution in place. When we proposed that based on the previous grant applications, we were looking at about a $5 million project. It was deemed that that was not going to be able to be pursued. So we backed off of that and went back basically to the intermediate life expectancy solution. We're dealing with partial depth and partial area repairs, basically taking out the bad concrete, patching it, and putting it back. That's the majority of the scope of the work. We're also completely redoing the membrane waterproofing on the slab to basically re-encapsulate and protect that patchwork. So we are for the intermediate term in a 5 to 10 year life cycle, and more than likely, realistically, closer to that 10-year life cycle. Now, that's not to say it's going to fall apart in 10 years. That's when we expect to see perhaps some additional damage rearing its ugly head. You're dealing with a parking garage that's saturated with chlorides from long-term use. You've seen even from the previous renovation that the garage has undergone additional deterioration. Unless we were able to tear the slabs out completely and replace them, that's kind of where we're at. So we are extending the life of the garage in that 10-year time frame, and that's plus or minus. It could go longer, could go less. I know from the present performance of the garage, the top level, for example, is in excellent condition. Part of that is because it really hasn't been used during the winter months when salts are coming in off the deck. So we would expect, again, just sort of a long-winded answer to your question, in about a 10-year time frame.
So you're the company that did the initial assessment,
That's correct.
78-page assessment?
That's correct.
Okay, good, thanks. And then when was the garage built?
I think it opened 2004 or 5, I believe.
I think it's like 21. What's that? Actually, the front page. You can play right now.
I'm just curious.
It's like February.
And it might be in this pack, but I don't know, but how long is the project estimated to last, and then where will people park?
You'll still be able to park in the garage.
How long is the project?
Do you think they're gonna try to shoot to get it done in the fall? You think they're gonna try to wrap up and use some in the spring?
We didn't talk specifically about timing. I believe that their bid, you have the tab in front of you. I don't here, unfortunately. I believe it was 100 days for their time frame, total time frame. We had talked about at the pre-bid, and the contractors seemed to all agree with this, that we would effectively split the project up over the fall of this year and the spring of next year. The goal being to finish by June 30th of next year, which is when the grant money needs to be spent by. And none of the contractors that bid the project balked at that schedule. The coating work, for example, wants to be done in warmer temperatures, typically 40 degrees and rising. Concrete repairs can be done more or less up through end of December, even into January, and then it gets a little bit cold, too cold to do concrete work itself. The coating definitely can't be done that way. We've had some initial conversations with Pullman regarding their expectations regarding schedule, and they've talked about perhaps sequencing some of the levels to be completely done this year, while some others might defer into next year. We've mentioned some things to them in terms of the scheduling of the coating work. For example, if they would remove the entire coating off the garage and leave it exposed over the winter time, that opens up a risk of having water that would come in off of cars, melting, snow and ice, dripping down through the floors onto cars below. Obviously, we want to avoid that. So as we engage them in discussions about schedule, we will vet all of that with them, and the specifics of that will be established to maintain the serviceability of the garage through the winter, and make sure that there's no adverse impact on the parking due to the construction work.
Thank you. And
You're welcome.
this is gonna be a crazy question, if you're willing to answer it. Just like a wild guess. But I think you have some education on the matter. How much would it cost to build a new garage?
Oh boy, a completely new one?
Yeah.
Depends on how many spaces we're talking about. Mike, I know we had these conversations.
Yeah,
Less spaces because the
Yeah, we
garage
have
isn't
it.
used as much as it used to.
we had this conversation in the past, that you would actually go to a new garage, the current garage is, 500 plus spaces if you use the roof, you probably build a 300 stall garage. Isn't that, it's still in the $10 million range, right?
Yeah, that was the number I just put in my calculator.
I mean, yeah, we've always said
20
about
20
$10 going in.
Yeah, it's about 20,000-ish a space, and it can be higher than that these days. Prices have gone up pretty substantially. But depending on where you want to put it, and what do you do with the old garage? If you tear it down, you got to add that cost in. So there's some other costs besides just the cost of building a new garage. But you're talking about that range.
Everybody's fine.
And what we have at the 15-year loan. The loan that we're using is 15-year loan. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Bilal or Mr. Cashman, do you have any questions? No, Bilal?
Just to point out and just confirm what I believe to be true, is the 10% contingency would have been applied to any bid regardless, right? So we're executing, not just because of the bid that we received from Poland, that would be on top for anybody.
That's correct.
Because the base numbers are the same, the 1150 is the same square footage for the P1 approximately.
But we're being asked to add that as part of the motion.
Correct, the action requested is the base bid, $2,088,000, and additional 10% contingency of $208,832, for a total of $2.3 million.
So if we did the contingency, which is about $200,000. It would might put the other two vendors in the ballpark.
10% as well before it's on their full base.
If we behind a motion. That's not part of the contract, that's part of the request. Have us add that to the motion.
I'm not sure.
10% of the lowest bid is still less money than 10% of the median bid or the highest.
Well, no, I understand that, but the contract does not have a 10% contingency, we're being asked to include that in our motion.
Correct.
Right.
But if we were to go with a different contract. And their amounts being 2.7 million base, or 2.5 million base, and adding 10% on those.
But if we didn't add the
We
10%,
did, right.
they, you know,
They, all
they'd
three
be in
would
the
be
ballpark.
more expensive, yes. They wouldn't be in the ballpark, they'd be higher.
If we did not add the 10% contingency.
It's not apples and apples then, it's thinking 10% contingency on one contract and no contingency on the others.
But it's,
That doesn't,
it's not in the contract, we're adding to our motion. But we would add it for our motion for any of the victims left, and you would, if you weren't going to add 10%, you had to, you wouldn't add 10% to it. You don't have to add it to the motion, it's not part of the contract.
Yeah, so there was no.
They all equal for equal bid, the difference is the unit pricing. So if you add 10% to the other one, you take it first. Looking at.
You know, building is not easy, it's not for the whole part, that's for sure.
okay, any additional questions, comment, or? I guess, really at this point? I would just have a couple of questions, so the Economic Development and Community Development Initiative Program is grant. At $1 million, that's a state program, is that correct? Yeah, okay. And then the local share grant amount of $350,000. Is that also a state?
That was when we felt, Alex said, we applied that over.
So fundamentally, a total of, we'll just use round number, $3.3 million, over 50% of this project will be covered by grants. Is that correct? Anything else? All right, can I, give a motion on the floor?
I make the motion that we approve with the contingency. Of the amount, that $2,297,152.
And we have a motion and we have a second. One last opportunity for any question, comment, or debate. Mrs. Leary, can you please call the roll?
Yes, Ms. Flasher,
Yes.
Mr. Barbera,
Yes.
Mr. Cashman,
Yes.
Mr. Gilbert is absent, Mrs. McCain.
No.
Mr. Valella,
Yes.
Mayor Wortman,
Yes,
motion carries with 5 votes in the affirmative.
much.
Mr. Kennedy, motion to adjourn.
Motion and second. Yes, I need to make it. So immediately following this special meeting, the council will go into an executive session where we will discuss personnel and real estate matters. There will be no decisions made. Special meeting is now adjourned.